All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're ready to start. So hello again and welcome again to BizWord. My name is Abdelkader Jab and I'll be your facilitator for this afternoon. So welcome to the fifth week of this amazing journey. So I hope that everyone is really excited about approaching the 22nd of March, which is the date where you guys have to submit all your pitch deck. And today we're going to be talking more about, we're going to be giving you a lot of examples that's going to hopefully inspire you to start working. And I'm sure you already started, but just to inspire you when it comes to doing your presentations, what are the things you need to be focusing on, and all of these details. So what are we going to cover? So I'm going to share with you a lot of examples on global brands that all of us know, like Uber, like Facebook, Airbnb, and Kareem, and many others, just to see what did these guys have done when they were working, let's say, on their presentations. What are the things that you have to focus as well when it comes to your presentation to the investors. And I'm going to share with you some videos on good presentations versus bad presentations. That's going to as well give you some examples and insights. And then we're just going to talk about the judging criteria, what are the things you need to focus on, some tips here and there. That's going to help you on the presentation day. All right. So, and of course, if anyone has any questions, you can always drop your questions into the chat box. All right, so let's talk a bit about the investor pitch. We're gonna just do like a very quick recap on what we covered before, just like with one slide, I guess. And then I'm gonna share with you those great examples of those global brands. So remember, first of all, just to make sure when you fill in your, when you work on your presentation deck, just to have like a slide that's actually talking about or filling at least what are the name of the team members, your emails, the school you're at, and your role at the company. Remember, we had different roles from the CEO to the VP of design to the VP of finance and all of the things that we already shared before. Just make sure to put your exact role. What are you, who are you representing, right? So what is your role inside this company, inside this foundation that you're actually building? So a quick reminder on the investor pitch that we shared in details in previous sessions. So always make sure to have not more maybe than 12 slides because you don't need more than that. What should it include? So first of all, you need to talk about your value proposition, your vision. And by the way, all of these things, we're going to show you some examples on those brands that I told you about. That's going to make it maybe more make it easier for you and just to make it make more sense when you're working on it, right? So first of all, you have your vision, your value proposition. This is what you're offering. So this is what's the added value that you're trying to put out over there. The problem, so of course you need to mention what is the problem that you're trying to fix, because I mean, your startup or your business idea should be fixing something, right? So there should be like a specific problem that you're trying to solve over here. So that's your problem, the target market and the opportunity. So you need to mention what is your market size, what is the market that you're trying to target over here, and always make sure to use some tools like Google Trends, the one that we shared last week, just for you to, in order to get more and better insights about a specific industry or a specific product or an idea that you have. And then the solution. Of course, this is like a slide that's going to talk, that's going to directly target your product. So talking in details about your product, what are you offering over here? What's the solution for the problem that you mentioned? And again, we're going to give a lot of examples. The revenue model. So how are you planning on making money? So, and again, we're going to see some examples of Kareem, for example, how did they decide to start taking a small fee from every single trip when people are booking, right? So this is their revenue model. So you need to have a revenue model just to tell the investor, how are you planning on making money? So do you want to take a small percentage of every sale? what is the price of your product, what are you trying to sell. Research and validation. So it's important to do a lot of research just to validate your idea, just to validate your concept, right? So when you want to tell the investor, this is how much money I need in order to execute my idea. So you need to back it up with some research, with some validation, just to tell them that, listen, this is the size of the market and we want to get like a, I don't know, like a 5% market share of this industry, of this market. Market strategy and sales strategy. So you need to mention in details, what are you planning to do to expose your idea, to tell the world, to tell other people about your idea. Team members. So you need to have a slide that's actually mentioning and stating who are those team members, right? And what are their roles, as we said before. Financial overview. So what are our estimates? So over here, we need to put some estimations on how much money do we think we're going to make. So yes, we spoke about our revenue model. So how are we planning to make money from every order, from every registration, from every whatever, depending on the business. But then we need to have another slide that's talking about our estimate revenue in total. So how much money do we think we're going to make in the next 2 years, for example, right? Because these are the things that's going to encourage this investor to accept your business idea, right? To accept your startup, your proposal. Competition in the market. It's very important to mention who are your competitors, against who are you playing in this industry. All right. And finally, you need to mention, based on your financial overview, you need to mention how much money do you require in order to reach this in order to reach the estimate that you were talking about. All right. So these are, like, just in a quick recap, the things that we covered before. And now I think let's dive into some examples from the ones that we have. So we're going to talk a lot about Uber and Kareem and Airbnb. But over here, I'm just like trying to show you a quick example on the value proposition that these brands have put in together when they were presenting to other businesses. Like, for example, Uber, their value is like, these guys were saying that we are the smartest way to get around, right? So why is that? Because Uber is like a solution. It's not a product. They're not selling a product. They're selling somehow, I mean, I wouldn't say even it's like a service. It's maybe a solution, right? So it's something that's going to solve a problem. So I would actually use Uber whenever I need to get around, whenever I need to go somewhere. So this is a fast and easy and a quick solution that's gonna solve my problem. So that's like their slogan, the smartest way to get around. Apple, for example, it's the experience. They're selling the experience. So the experience is their product, right? So yes, at the end of the day, they have a physical product, which is the phone, which is, I mean, they have a lot of products, but let's say we're focusing more on the iPhone. So the experience is the product. So they're not just selling me something physical that I can touch and that I can use and that I can take photos with, but they're selling me an experience. Like when I have an iPhone, I'm part of a specific community, right? I'm part of a specific lifestyle. And this is their concept. This is the value that they are giving us. So they're trying to focus more on the value. And this is exactly the same thing that you guys have to focus on. So what's the value that I'm going to get by using your product, by using your business, your service? All right. So this is just to get you a bit inspired. Now, let's talk a bit about Kareem. And that's another example of value proposition. So this is the value proposition of Kareem. And I'm sure all of you guys know Kareem, right? So Kareem over here, what they're trying to focus on is that they are providing a solution and they are giving us, let's say, they're trying to link between a specific demand that a lot of people have and another supply that other people can actually offer. So what is the demand and what is the supply over here? The demand is people that are actually trying to, again, like get around, going into places, having, let's say, a taxi on the spot, on demand, right? And on the other side, what they're doing is they're linking it with supply. So what is the supply over here? Is the excess amount of taxis in a specific country, like in the UAE, like in Saudi Arabia, like in many other places. and I mean, trying to link them to those people who need something on demand, who need to go to a specific place, right? So this is where Kareem comes in place. So they're linking a specific demand with a lot of taxis that are there that somehow maybe they are not working a lot, right? They don't have a lot of demand. So this is where Kareem comes in place, exactly just like Uber, because eventually I'm sure you guys have heard of that Uber have bought Kareem. So it's as if we're talking about the same company, but right now we're just like giving a quick example about Kareem. So that's their value proposition, all right? And of course, as you notice, they're trying to highlight their value proposition. So one, they have a high quality. Two, high quality, why? Because they're not just using any taxis. So today, if you order a Kareem taxi, right? So I mean, you might be going into you might be having this trip in a Lexus. So technically, it's a high quality. So I'm having a good standard while I'm taking this taxi, while I'm going to the place that I want to go to. Another thing which is reliable. So it happens in real time. And that's why it's reliable. So you can book a taxi on the spot right now, like 5-10 minutes later, it's going to be at your doorstep, right? So that's why it's reliable. Short wait time, you don't have to wait a lot of time. So that's another one or another benefit that they're trying to highlight. Standard prices, so you're not going to pay a fortune to take a Kareem or an Uber taxi, right? It's just like a regular price of another taxi. Spans multiple geographies. So over here, they're trying to focus, or they're just like trying to tell us that we're not going to only focus on one area. So we have multiple areas. So that's another benefit that we do have. All right. Competitive price. So, and of course, it's same as the standard price. So they have competitive prices, right? So they're able to compete in the market. And when they have that, this means that, I mean, their service is for everyone, because you can always have a service that is dedicated for a specific target group, which we call it niche, which is for a very small group of people, because maybe you have something expensive, maybe you are targeting people who have a specific lifestyle or a specific, let's say, taste. But at the same time, when you have competitive prices and you have standard prices in a market, which means you're going to compete with everyone, which means almost everyone is your target audience. And this is when you become a business for the masses. And this is when you make a lot of money. All right. So, I mean, these are just things just for you to consider and to start thinking of. Now, when it comes to the problem, these are other examples as well. One which is from Uber and another one which is for Airbnb. So first of all, do you guys know who's Airbnb and what do they do? Have you heard of Airbnb? So Hamdan knows, I guess. All right, provide vacational homes. Yeah, absolutely. So just for people who don't know who's Airbnb, yeah, it's Air Bed and Breakfast. Absolutely. So it's an abbreviation for Air Bed and Breakfast. So it's like a platform, like I would say it's similar to Expedia. I'm sure you know Expedia, right? Or Trivago. I'm sure you've seen ads of Trivago before. So Trivago and Expedia are websites where you can actually book a hotel at a specific location, whether it's in Dubai or all over the world. And Airbnb is somehow a similar solution, but where you don't have to book a hotel. You might want to book, let's say, a studio for someone that's actually renting it, right? So if you have a house, let's say in Dubai or in your home country, you can actually list it on Airbnb so that other people can check it out and book it, right? And they come and they stay at your place and you get paid for this service. So that's Airbnb. So now what is the problem that Uber and Airbnb are trying to solve? As you can see, the problem for Uber, so most of the cars that were used before was like old cars, and sometimes they don't have a radio, they don't have facilities in the cars. So that was something that they wanted to fix, because they wanted to introduce a new range of cars where people can actually not only take like an old cab or an old taxi to go to their work or wherever they want to go, they can just book anything. They have the freedom to book a luxurious car or just any other car. Another one, which is inside those cars, there was no GPS, so there was no technology at all, right? So no internet, no GPS, so and you cannot actually book, right? So you have to call the taxi so that they come to you. So that was a problem which they have noticed, that people need speed, right? So everyone wants everything to happen fast. And that's where they come in place to solve this problem. Now, what's the problem of Airbnb? First of all, the price, right? So when you want to book a trip, so you're stuck with let's say the hotels, right? And the hotels usually they have fixed prices. You cannot like maybe negotiate. You don't find a lot of options because a hotel is a hotel. They have a service to provide. They have employees to pay their salaries. While when it comes to someone that's actually renting their houses, you can find like very competitive prices because this person who has a house, they don't have a cost, right? They don't have employees to pay for. So that's why now they're looking at a price as a problem that they want to fix. Two, hotels leaves you disconnected from the city and its culture because most of the time hotels are centralized in specific places and that's it. Most of the time, let's say in the downtown or known places. But then maybe I can have a studio in a specific, let's say, I don't know, in a mountain where I want to rent it, where there's a specific culture over there. So this is where they're opening for more, let's say, opportunities for more people to list their houses. So that's another problem. No easy way exits to book a room with a local or become a host. So they found that there is no, let's say, a solution where you as a host, you can actually start making money because you have a house, right? So they came into the picture where they wanted to fix this problem. So that was another problem for them. Now, let's look at the target market and the opportunity. So this is another study that was done for Uber and Airbnb as well. So remember the steps that we mentioned in the pitch deck. So these are exactly the steps that we are covering. So first of all, the problem, and then your target market, which is the opportunity. So where are you playing, right? So what is this market that you're playing in? What's your opportunity? So what's the target, the market size, the target that you have, and everything. So over here, I mean, Uber is just trying to show us what is the market, what are the different segments in the market. So they've done the research to understand that how people are actually using taxis, right? So what is, let's say, the number of people who are using taxi for business purposes, to go to the airport, to go to their, let's say, to go to school, and all of these things. So they try to just identify what is the market size so that they would know where they can actually come in place. And then you have, when it comes to Airbnb, so they try to, first of all, their opportunity was to open and start with New York City. And by the way, I mean, why did they do that? Because they wanted to make sure that their idea can work. So when they started, they didn't start worldwide as they do now. So right now you can book, let's say, I don't know, you can book a studio or an apartment in Saudi, in Dubai, in Lebanon, in Jordan, all over the place, right? So they're all over the world at the moment. But when they started, they only started with a targeted market. So that was because they've seen that this is their opportunity. So it was only in New York, and then they started expanding into other states within the United States, like Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, and some others. And of course, I mean, they've seen an opportunity to cover for 50% of the entire US market. All right. So that was their opportunity. So this is what they have noticed. This is something that we can actually start with and that we can actually cater for. What was the solution now? It's because we've mentioned what is the problem and then what is our opportunity, what is the target market. Now we want to start talking about the solution. So for Uber, the solution was having a fast and efficient on-demand car service. So what is on-demand? It's something that you can get on the spot, right? So think of it as think of it like Anghami or Spotify, right? Anghami and Spotify, we call these services as music on demand, right? So it's a music on demand. You don't have to wait till your favorite song comes on the radio, right? Because that's the traditional way. Having music on demand is opening Spotify and searching for the song that you want. Exactly just like YouTube, right? So these are services on demand, exactly just like Uber having a taxi on demand. So fast and efficient on-demand car service. The market, the solution for them is to provide professionals in this industry. So they don't want to just hire anyone. They only need professionals to take you to work, to take you to school, and all of these things. Convenience of having a cab in New York City, because again, remember that was their main target audience. So their main target city. So they wanted to have something convenient for people inside the city. Latest consumer web and device technology. So that's another solution where they're providing a solution, right? It's a technology company. If you think of Uber, we might think that Uber is a taxi company, but it's a technology company. It's not a taxi company, right? Because they have a platform and everything happens on this platform. They can even track the driver. They can track you inside that cab, and they calculate on the spot, let's say, the price of your trip when you take a taxi. So it's more of a technology company. So of course they need to focus on the devices, the technology, the web, and everything. Automate dispatch to reduce waste time. So, and this is something, of course, that's part of their technology, which they can actually calculate how much time do you need to reach this place and how much time does the driver needs to come to your doorstep and everything in between. Optimize fleets and incentivize the drivers. So that's another thing. So part of what you're paying, they're actually taking a cut from it to give this driver an incentive. So they're giving him his cut, and then they're keeping their profit share from the amount you are paying. All right. So these are the different solutions that they try to focus on. Now, when it comes to Airbnb, so what was the biggest solutions for them? So one is to save money, of course, right? So we said that now when you want to order, let's say when you want to stay at a hotel, of course, it's going to be more expensive than staying at a convenient house next to the place where you're traveling to, right? So you're saving money. And for other people who own houses, now they are making money, right? So they provided a solution for two different target audiences. The first target audience are people who are traveling on a vacation, and the other target audience are people who own houses. Let's say I'm traveling to Spain, so I might start looking at Airbnb to see who's Spanish and they do have, let's say, a house that they want to rent for the weekend, right? So Airbnb is giving the opportunity for these people to make money as well. All right, sharing culture, because when you stay at a local, place, which is the house of someone that lives in this place, of course, they're going to share the culture with you. You're going to see their house and how did they decorated it, which is part of a specific culture, depending, of course, on the country that you are visiting. So these are the different solutions that they have presented. Now let's talk about the product, which is the solution as well, of course, but maybe you want to show it in a more detailed way. So over here, we're talking more about Kareem, which is Uber at the same time. So they have actually part of their solution, they're providing two products. The product is the service, of course, over here. All right, guys. So they have actually two products. The first product is the opportunity of scheduling, of course, a trip. So maybe you don't need a trip right now, but maybe at 4 a.m, you are going to the airport, right? So you need to schedule, you need to book a trip from now, so that at 4 a.m, this a taxi driver is going to be waiting at your doorstep. So that's one product. Another product is a taxi on demand, which is right now, right? So now I need a ride, so I can actually book it, and then I can go wherever I want. So of course, what they're trying to focus on, first of all, they're just talking in general about the two different products. And then they're giving some examples like the use cases, as you can see, the primary use case. So for the scheduled, it's more of a business travel. So if I'm traveling for a business, I want to make sure that I book all my taxis because I don't want to be late on a specific meeting, especially because it's a business trip. So it's something very important for me. If I'm going to the airport, same thing. I need to make sure that I book my Uber or my Kareem because I don't want to be late for my flight, right? So that's another thing. Same goes for the, let's say, if I need a ride right now. So this is more for unpredictable things. So let's say right now I just got a phone call and I need a taxi at the moment, right? Someone just called me to go to their place. So I need to reserve something now. So for things that happen spontaneously, everyday use, all of the things that we're saying. So, and as you can see, each one of them is, is described in more details just to give some insights for people you're presenting to, just for them to have an idea about what is your product. Now you have the revenue model, which is how are you planning to make money? All right. So over here, Airbnb, they just did like a small business model, which is they decided that they want to take 10% commission of each transaction. And that's their business model. So they just said that, okay, so we find it maybe reasonable to take 10% of every transaction that happens on our website. And then now they have to start estimating how much money they are projected to make, right? And as you can see, so first of all, they said like the available market, the trips with Airbnb are valued to be $84 million, all right? And technically what's happening is that what they're making is on average from every, let's say, transaction, they're making on average $25, which in return, I mean, the revenue, and then these are actual numbers, right? And then based on those, what they said is, they said that we are estimating by 2011, we're going to make $200 million. And that's exactly what you need to do. And again, always remember, these are estimates. And even if you haven't started yet and you're not generating any money, you can always do that, right? So you can actually decide what is the price of your service or your product and how much you're estimating on making. But of course, you have to defend that because I might come and ask you, I mean, how did you come up with those numbers? So you need to have a good justification for that. Another example on a revenue model, and this is an example for Kareem. And as you can see over here, because Kareem they do have different, let's say, types of cars, right? So they have the regular taxi and they have the limousine and they have so many others. So over here, you're looking at the comparison between the limousine and the taxi. And as you can see, they just mentioned how much money they're going to be making from the taxi when it's scheduled and from the taxi when someone orders it at the moment. And I'm sure you've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed before, but when you are scheduling a taxi, it's usually much more expensive than ordering a taxi at the moment. Why is that? Because technically you're using like a privileged service, right? So this is like a service that's like I don't know, like a private service, right? It's not like something that's going to be available everywhere because they have found it. So they decided to make it a bit more expensive because when you need this service, no matter how much it is, you're going to pay for it, right? Because you need to go to the airport. You need to not to be late to your business meeting, right? So if you want to schedule, it's going to be more expensive. Same goes for the limousine. They decided on specific percentages, right? So they're going to take like 20 to 25% of the revenue. And if someone is ordering it now, it's going to be different. So again, this is exactly what you need to be doing for your revenue model. Research validation. So now we jump into how did we come up with those numbers? So how are we going to back up our numbers just in order to convince our investors? So over here, first of all, they've done some market research just to understand the size of the market, right? So they've done some research on, and they have noticed that there are some other websites that offer a similar service to them. One that's called Greg's List, and another one that's called, that used to be really huge, by the way, that's called Couchsurfing. And these are websites that has like a similar service of Airbnb. So because these guys are doing well and they're working, which is, in other terms, that's a validation. So that's a market validation that actually said that this idea is valid in the market, right? So if we come and make it even better, that means that we're gonna make money. We're gonna be successful because other players have succeeded. So it's a validation. That's one. Two, you need to be talking about your market size. And of course, this is when you need to be doing a lot of research, and Google Trends can help you a lot, which we covered last week. So look at this example. What they've said is that the total available market for trip booking and for hotel booking is more than 2 billion, right? And this is worldwide. So worldwide, there's 2 billion bookings that's happening. And over here, they came and said that how much of these 2 billion we can actually service, right? And that's what we call a serviceable available market. So this is the number of bookings that we can actually do. Of course, they cannot cater for all the 2 billions, of course not. So they can actually make around 560 million. And out of these 560 million, so they said that they're going to have like a 15% market share, which is 84 million trip. So those 84 million trip is the reasonable number. So they said that out of those 2 billions, there is 560 million that we can actually compete for, right? Because out of these 2 billions, of course, there are people that would never agree to go to let's say to an apartment, right? They need to go to a 5-star hotel. So if someone wants to go to a 5-star hotel, of course, that's not my target audience anymore. This is part of the 2 billion, but it's not part of the 560 million, right? So part of the 560 million are people who are willing, let's say, I don't know, to book a studio, to book an apartment in a specific city, etc., etc. And then they, just to make it more reasonable, of course, they might not be able for the whole 560 million people. They said, we're going to get a 15% market share of this. And 15% of this is 84 million. So this is how you start going into those different steps, just to make it a bit more, let's say, reasonable and a bit more realistic for your investors. All right. Marketing and sales strategy. So this is where, this is where you might start doing some surveys, maybe just to get some testimonials, just to get some feedback from people that's going to help you with your marketing, right? So this is one. Another thing, which is something we call a go-to-market presentation, which is most probably like the one that you're working on, which is the pitch deck, which is a marketing strategy that's actually showing investors and showing other people, what are you planning to do? What are you planning to do to go to the market, to reach out to this market? What are you going to tell them? Where are you going to advertise? Will you be using Facebook? Will you be using YouTube, billboards in the street? So this is your go-to-market marketing ideas. All right. Team members, of course, as we said before, you need to be putting who are the team members and what is their role. As you can see over here, let's say for Tesla, of course, Elon Musk is the CEO, right? So it's clearly there. I mean, he is part of the team. And you have some other people, like you have the VP of HR, the VP of hardware, the VP of communication, right? The VP of manufacturing, exactly like we did with you guys, right? So you have to be mentioning those. You have to be putting them for you and for your team, just in order to have a good structure based on the different roles that we have. And that's another example of team members. These are the founders of Kareem. All right. So as well, I mean, they've put what are their credentials, what are their experience, their name, of course, their job roles at the company, etc., etc. When it comes to the financial overview, of course, this is where you need to talk more about the market that you're in and how much how much you're willing to, you want to spend, and how much you're projecting to make in the next couple of years. And a good example of Uber, whenever they go into a new market, they always lose money at the beginning. They always do. Why? Because they're grabbing market share. And for them to be able to compete with other competitors, they have to waste some money at the beginning. I mean, think of Uber and Kareem. When Uber started in the UAE, they've seen that they are losing a lot of money. So a way for them to start making more money was to buy Kareem. And of course, buying Kareem at the beginning was them just like I don't want to say losing money, but it costed them a lot of money, right? So it was like an investment for them. And that's what I was saying. At any time when they are really like going into a new market, they are losing money at the beginning, but then later on, they start generating profits. So if this is something that is relevant to you, or that that could make sense in your case, in your business, you need to just mention it. So you might want to say that maybe in the first year we might not start generating profit because of 1, 2, 3. So you have to mention what are the factors that's going to cost you a lot of money at the beginning. But then you have to say that from year 2, this is where we're going to skyrocket. Our sales will skyrocket. All right. Competition in the market. So it's very important to identify the competition in a market, just in order for you to just mention them and put them in a slide, just to tell the investor and to tell the judges what are the businesses that you believe that you are competing with. And it's important to just identify them, even if sometimes if it's an indirect competition. All right. So it's important to mention your competitors. Investment required, and that's another example of Airbnb. So you need to tell the investor how much money do you need. So what is the investment that you are requesting that's going to make your idea happen? All right, and that's just an example over here where they're saying that we're estimated to make 80,000 trip, and on average we are going to take $25 as a fee for Airbnb from every trip, which in return will generate for us over a period of 12 months, $2 million. That's our revenue. So this is something that's somehow convincing for an investor, right? Because of course they should have a plan for this. They should have an execution plan just to show the investor what are we going to do to get the 80,000 trips. Of course, so that's their marketing and their communication strategy, etc., etc. But at least this is the investment that's required, and it's it's just like it's mentioned in details what do they need for that. Another example of investment required, which was presented by Kareem. So technically they needed $600,000. And over here, they're actually saying, why do they need this money, right? So they're saying that most of this amount will be spent on headcount, which are people, right? So they needed more people. They needed to grow their team. They needed engineers. They needed tech people, marketeers, etc., to work on their business. And over here, they mentioned how much money do they need for travel and people who are going to travel for meetings, etc. IT infrastructure, because of course, they need some servers, they need some applications, some tools out there. How much do they need for marketing, and how much do they need for legal, right? Because they have to register things, in every country, etc., etc. So these are like this is the investment that was required by Kareem, and they're actually mentioning for what are we going to spend it. So that's important for you as well. Right now, I just want to share with you guys some presentations, some videos on a comparison between a good presentation and a bad presentation. So we're not going to watch them right now. I'm just going to share with you the links but I encourage you to watch them later on, because these are, I mean, great inspirations as well, just to give you some comparison between how a good presentation is and what to avoid, so that you don't have like a bad one. All right. So let me just share the links in the chat. So that's the first one. And that's the second one. And that's the third video. So what I encourage you to do, guys, just try to open the videos right now, just to have them in your browser. And then once we're done, you can just watch them or save them. So just make sure to save the links. But again, I mean, the links are in the presentation, so maybe you can just get it later on. But just try to have them right now, because that's going to be either, easier for you. All right. All right. Why I can't? Just give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So let me share with you some tips, of course, regarding your presentations. All right. So first of all, always think about your business idea as it's your own baby, right? So this is your baby. This is something that you have to show passion for. So this is something, it's as if, you just don't want to do anything so that this idea can work, and you just want to make it happen. So you always have to show passion and to connect with your audience, because trust me, this is a very important factor for investors, because most of the time, sometimes investors, they might not believe in the idea itself, but sometimes they believe in people, right? So when they believe in people, and when they feel that this person has huge passion for his idea, this is when they might invest in your idea, right? But maybe the idea itself is not like a breakthrough. It's just like a good idea, but because they believed in you, that's why they chose you. So always try to show passion, focus on the audience needs. So try to engage more with the audience when they ask questions, etc. So try to cater for what they're asking for. Of course, keep it simple. Keep it simple when it comes to the presentation, the way you are presenting. Just try to make it straightforward, right? Straight to the point. And of course, concentrate on the core message. So if you're trying to tell me something right now about your idea, just make it straight to the point. So don't try to complicate things. Try to have a big smile on your face, right? And try to always make eye contact. Exactly. I don't know. I can't read your name. I think it's David. Exactly like David. All right. Yeah. So always have a big, good smile on your face, and just make some good eye contact, because that creates some good vibes with the judges, with the audience, and with everyone. And try to always start strong with at the beginning of your presentation, because again, people will actually notice the passion that you have, the excitement that you have. All right. And make sure to tell some stories as well. So within your presentation, even if you don't have something in your presentation, in your slides, just try to come up with a good story that can actually convince people about your idea. All right. And yeah, these are like some of the most important things just for you to focus on. So how to present as a team? These are some additional tips. Decide on one person that's gonna be the presenter. All right. So you just have to decide who's gonna be presenting. Establish your key messages. Just prepare what are the main things that you wanna talk about. Of course, don't forget to assign your roles. Make sure everyone has a specific role at the company. Practice, of course. Make sure to practice a lot when it comes to the presentation. Just do some rehearsals. Use visual like images, because that's the easiest way for you to present your idea. Of course, dress well, because that's going to be like an important event for you. So make sure to dress well, to present yourself in a great way. Keep your posture good. So I mean, just make sure to like stand still on the stage and be strong, and just like be confident, and that's it. Make sure you are in a quiet place. So I mean, when you're standing on the stage, just make sure that, I mean, you own your space, right? Just make sure that you're standing somewhere where you feel like you're more comfortable, where there's not a lot of noises, where people can actually hear you. All right. And of course, make sure to stick to the allocated time. So, and of course, you're going to be able to achieve that by practicing and by rehearsing. Because right now, if you just want to present your idea to me, it might take you like, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minutes by keep talking, right? So just make sure to rehearse as much as possible so that you don't take a lot of time. So if you have, let's say, 5 minutes to present something, make sure not to skip those 5 minutes, for example. All right. And of course, if there are specific answers that each one of you should answer, maybe things related to manufacturing, things related to finance, some more, maybe more technical things, make sure to allocate those questions. So, I mean, decide in advance that you will be answering everything related to, let's say, the revenue model. And some other team members might want to answer things related to your marketing strategy, for example, right? So make sure just to decide ahead of time who's going to answer what, because of course the judges will be asking such questions. All right. The judging criteria. So the team should have a clear problem statement. So of course, your idea should be solving a problem. So it's not like you just want to create an online store for fashion and that's it, right? If you're not actually solving a problem, it's not going to be valid. So make sure to have a problem statement. The concept solves a real market need. So again, it's not just an example. It should be something real in the market, right? The concept should be innovative. So you should be creating something new. All right. You might be taking something that's existing, but then you just like add some tweaks on top of it, right? So that makes it innovative. The concept should be financially sustainable with a clear revenue stream. So you should be presenting a clear revenue stream. How are you going to make money? Okay. The concept should be feasible, which means it should be doable, right? So you shouldn't be like creating something that at the end of the day we cannot actually make it happen. So it should be feasible. The team members should have a clear role and responsibility. We're just trying to focus on this one because each and every one of you guys should have a clear role, and you should own your role. That's it. All right. Each team members should have like an added value to the project. So let's say if you're creative enough, which means maybe you need to be the VP of design, right? This is the added value that you're giving. If you're good in math, maybe you need to be the VP of finance, because that's the added value you're going to bring to the table. So make sure that your role is going to really add value to this project. All right. Of course, your mentor should be with you on board while you're doing the pitch. And of course, the pitch should be well structured. Anyway, I think we've already gave you a lot of examples on that. All right. And by the end, of course, you need to have a prototype. Don't forget about that. So if it's a website, you can have like just a few slides that are showing your web pages. And again, you can design this on Canva. If you're actually building a product, maybe you need to go and just do one example. So you might go to, I don't know, to the manufacturer just to build one example, because it's important to have a prototype with you. And I think we already covered that. All right. And of course, remember to access the material. I think you already have the link, but I'm going to share it with you anyway over here. Just give me 1 second. Right. So I'm just going to share the link with you guys. All right, so I just shared it in the chat. And then, so over here, you're gonna be able to find all the recordings from our previous sessions, just to, just to do a quick recap. And this is the application or the page where you need to apply for your project. So this is where you have to fill all the details about your team, the team members, your idea, the business name, what is the problem you're trying to solve, what is your product talking about, and then obviously you have to put, let me just show you. So there's a place where you have to insert a link for your video pitch, right? So you need to have, you need to record your video pitch, and this is where you can put it. You can just upload it on YouTube and then put the link over here, or just put it on your Google Drive and then copy the link and put it over here. So you'll be able to check what are the things that are required. So I'm just gonna share the link as well, so you have it in the chat. All right, so I think we're almost done. I just wanna make sure that you guys, I just wanna check if you guys have any questions. So I'll be checking the chat. Along with the tag optional. So Mega is asking if submitting the video along with the PowerPoint pitch is optional or mandatory. So I think you should be submitting it with the pitch deck. So the pitch deck is your PowerPoint presentation, but then there should be another video which is talking more about your idea. All right. The presentation will be online or offline. I'm not sure if it's going to be online or offline yet. I think Hiba can answer that. You're on mute, Hiba.
Sorry, everything will be virtual. Everything will be done virtually.
Okay, so it's going to be online, guys. All right, where's the final? Okay, so I think we answered that. All right, so someone asked if the business model canvas can be creative, or should we stick to what we took in the lesson? I mean, honestly, I think, this is my opinion, what matters is the content of your BMC. How it looks, it doesn't really matter. So you can go as creative as you want to, as long as the main elements that we covered inside the business model canvas is there in your file. So regardless how.
If I may add, the general rule is to cover these elements.
Exactly.
And then try to stand out. If you want to be special, you must try to stand out, because this is a competition. But you cannot stand out and not cover the elements.
So so there's another question, Hiba. Do we need to film a video for the presentation, or will the presentation be on the call?
Yes, so both. Everyone will submit a video on the application form that you just showed. Only the final 10 will enter the judging panel on the 26th, and they will present live virtually.
All right. And so do all members have to submit the final video, or just one member? So guys, you just have to work on one video and one pitch, right? So remember, you're a team. So not each and every one of you should be working on a presentation or a separate video. It should be one document, one video and one presentation.
Yes, so this can be done either all of you on Zoom, for example, if you can't meet. Other groups will choose to meet and do it in person. If you don't want to, or you can't, there is the option of figuring it out over Zoom, but it has to be a team entry.
Yes. Everyone make videos.
Excuse me? When I asked that just one person or all the people have to submit, I meant as in it will be only one video, of course, like our pitch. But
yes,
do all the members have to submit it separately, like in that form which was sent, or just
no,
one?
it's only one person who's going to submit, because if you notice over here, you have to mention who are the team members, right? So what's the name of your mentor? And then you have the team member 1, team member 2. All right. So yeah. So you can submit everything for the whole team.
And may I ask, is the mentor the one that is required to submit it, or can it be one of the team members?
The general advice is the team members. This is your work, your company, your application, but you must have the mentor there to support you, and we must have the mentor's name.
Is it possible that the CEO, the girl who's chosen as the CEO, can go ahead and do this, or should every member go ahead and do this?
No, one person is advised to go on this. So the team will agree which team member from the students is going to fill the application, and one person will fill this application for the whole team, which means, of course, that this person will have to enter everybody's names, but it should be one entry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Will the judging be online? Will the judging panel be online?
Yes, the final virtual session will be online.
Okay.
The final judging session will be online.
When is that?
26th of March.
Okay.
Hiba, yeah, go ahead, Jenai. Sorry.
Sorry.
Do you still have more questions?
I will think about what I was gonna say.
Okay. Hiba, some people are asking me if they still don't have a mentor. So what should they do?
Yes, so the new announcement about this is to have the team itself bring on board a trusted mentor from school, a teacher, and if this is absolutely impossible to do, bring an adult from the family, a parent.
And for the investors pitch, how long should it be, the presentation, in minutes, I mean? What's the duration?
I think it's 3 to 5 minutes. It's there in the guidelines. It should be no more than that.
Okay, all right.
On what basis will the final 10? The same judging criteria we discussed over the PowerPoint now with Mr. Abid.
Okay, I think most of the questions we've already answered. I'm just like double checking.
So will everybody present on May 26th?
Everybody will have to submit by March 22nd.
22nd.
Only the final 10 that we will announce will have to present on the 26th.
So the ones that will be chosen, guys. All right.
Okay.
If we don't have questions, then we can leave. Yes. So we're done for today. Of course, if you guys don't have any questions, of course you can leave. I just want to wish you best of luck. I really hope that you guys really enjoyed those sessions and that you learned something new, not only from today, from the previous sessions as well. And just make sure to go back to the recordings just in case, I mean, you need additional information. All right. And I think everything should be there, like the templates, the explanation, the examples that we gave. I think it should be pretty clear. It's not that hard, but of course it's going to take time. So make sure to, I mean, really move fast because you don't have a lot of time anymore. I mean, we're just like 6 days away from submitting your presentation. So yeah.
We are hosting a question and answer session tomorrow for students at 5. You will receive the invitation and the link maximum this evening. Okay, so if you remember any questions later on today, please log in tomorrow and you will have someone from the team answer them.
May I ask, where can we find the recordings of the sessions?
Yeah, I'll share the link again in the chat. I think, I mean, you should have received it by email or something, but I mean, just in case, this is the link. You can save it. You have all the recordings, as you can see. All right.
Excuse me, sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, sure.
It's a minor question, but I registered for the program when I was in grade 11, but I'm in grade 12 now. So what grade am I supposed to put for the form?
I think grade 12 is fine.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, guys, thank you very much. So a final question, is it necessary to solve a problem in our business idea? I think it's better. So it's, I mean, if you're actually solving a problem, your idea is going to be taken into more consideration. That's the thing. But if it's just like something that we've seen before, I think you're going to have less chance to win. That's it. All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much again for today's session. And I hope to see you soon. All right. Bye. Bye-bye.